Show, where we help top leaders find their pathway to incredible success and a lifetime of happiness. Here is your host, Tom Dutta, the Quiet Warrior.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Quiet Warrior Show. It's your host, Tom Dutta. And click on the subscribe button there for the YouTube channel. If you're on that feed, we're live streaming across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter today. And I'm excited. I've got the guy in the green room that I think is going to blow your mind with his story. But first of all, let's talk about what we're doing here. We're live streaming, recording a international podcast. It'll be released in the future. We're also doing a YouTube live premiere of that. That's so you can watch the video. And I got to tell you that I came across this guest, and I looked at the title of the book, and 14 Days in Beijing, and I read the book, and I sent an email to him, and I said, "Hey, man," I said, I don't want egos coming on my show. I want guys who can come on my show and talk about their successes and also their failures. That's where the learning point is. So I remember sending him a note, and I said, what is your gut punch? What were your character flaws? And this is what he wrote me back. He said, moving too fast in life, making irrational decisions, being defiant to other cultures, systems, and customs. And I was arrested on drug charges in China. So that's why I love our guest today, because this is a man of integrity who can tell both sides of the story. Everybody, let me tell you a bit about him before I bring him on the screen. Korleh Jackson, Chancellor K Jackson, born in Fulton County to a Native American parents, grew up in Smyrna, Georgia, attended Stetson University. He played football at the high school and collegiate level. Today, I know he's coaching. After graduating with a Bachelor's Degree in Communications and Media Studies, he lived abroad in China for a year, and then he fell into writing after his experience in Beijing. And today, well, he's a man of many faces and many stories. So everybody, welcome to the show, Korleh Jackson. Hey, buddy, welcome.
Hey, man, blessings and balance to you, Tom. Blessings and balance to everyone that's tuning in right now. Appreciate you for having me.
All right, dude. Hey, this is pretty exciting. I wasn't sure, I got no hair. I got a COVID haircut. You got an amazing head. I want to borrow some. I wasn't sure if I should put a ball cap on today or not. Yeah, I want to get right into it. And I was just saying with the riffing with Korleh offline here that I spent time in Atlanta, Georgia when I was in my business career, and many memories. I have a visual of that place. But dude, just tell us, you grew up there? Tell us about the early part of your life growing up, and then take us into sort of the success, the football and all that. And then something happened that took you to China. Take us up to that point.
Yeah, so pretty much I was born and raised in Smyrna, Georgia, single parent household, my mom and my little brother. She raised both of us on her own for the most part, and she did a hell of a job for sure.
Awesome.
Never really had to struggle for real financially. Like our lights was never off. We never went hungry. You know what I mean? Never had to endure any type of, just at that form of adversity. You know what I mean? She definitely crossed all her T's and dotted all her I's to make sure we didn't have to go through anything like that. I was always mature, wise, and just natural.
What about dad? Did you have a father that you ever
knew? Papa was a Rolling Stone. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ain't no malice towards him and no ill will, nothing like that. We got a great relationship. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't in the picture like my Dukes was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it's still shout out to Pops. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's OG. I wouldn't. A huge reason why I am the way that I am is because of him. So, shout out to him as well. But I was always mature, always wise for my age.
Well, I just want to jump in there, man, because I'm riffing in my head, going in a whole bunch of directions. Everybody, that's a teaching moment. Listening to Korleh Jackson. I mean, just dude, you said you're wise. I mean, just hearing you say that about your dad and the way you talk about your mom and dad, that's so amazing to me. And we can honor your mom, man, because she seems like one of the unsung heroes in your life. So there you were growing up, single, parent. You seems like you had a pretty good life. Then what happened?
Started playing football. So I was like I said, I was already making good grades on honor roll, perfect attendance in school, already doing that football just enhanced it even more. You know what I'm saying? Because it was bringing in the discipline factor and being coachable. So that just sharpened me even more. Started playing in 8th grade. It was still a struggle as far as just working my way up the food chain or just the depth chart just to be able to play. I didn't really start playing until freshman year of high school. That's when I started playing for real. And that's when I started on freshman ball, started on JV, tried to start on varsity my junior year, didn't make the cut. So they put me back on JV my junior year. Mind you, my little brother, who's just a sophomore, he's on varsity. So you can imagine how that, you know what I'm saying, that affects you. You know what I'm saying? So
what position did you play?
Oh yeah, my fault. DB. I'm a true DB. For those that love football, DB. That's the only position I've ever played my entire career. Strong safety, free safety, cornerback, nickel corner. Has always been in the secondary unit. You know what I mean? So true DB.
Let me ask you a question about your mom, because she sounds like a special lady.
Yeah.
You don't hear these stories often, man, about single parenting families, because a lot of times the mom's grief and pain trying to figure it all out on her own affects the children. You talked about discipline. I mean, here's a guy, everybody, that went into football for the reason of, the discipline factor, learning a system. Where did you get all that? Did you get that type of wisdom from your mom, or did you get it from mentors or other people? Or
I feel like I'm the chosen one out of the family tree, out of the tribe. You know what I'm saying? The ancestors chose me and a few other my cousins. You know what I'm saying? We a select few of us that the ancestors chose. For sure. You can just tell just how we are and just what we got going on. You can tell. You know what I'm saying? It's a major difference. So I just feel like just one of those chosen ones, for sure.
And then
I always been like this.
Yeah, and you're one of those. I mean, I have a lot of friends in America. I've worked on both sides of the border. Have a lot of love and appreciation for your country. They talk openly about a lot of children who don't have the opportunity for post-secondary education, like university and stuff. You seem to have the ability to do that, man. What drove you to go to university? I think you got a degree. Tell me about the experience. I mean, how was that? And how many men or young men of color were actually, in the university? And is it getting better for opportunity across the board?
Yeah. I feel like more and more people of color, especially Black men and women, are going to college and graduating from college at way higher rates than they were in the past, for sure. That's just how I feel. Far as me, the only thing that drove me to play, just to take my education further, was football. If it wasn't for football, I have no clue where I would be, what I'd be doing. But ever since I was freshman year in high school, I constantly kept telling people, like, bro, I just want to play D1 ball. I want to play D1 ball. I don't care where how everything go, how the season go, I just want, if we win championship state, I don't about as long as I play, I get a scholarship to play D1 ball, but I'm good. I'm content. And it was a grind just to make that happen. You know what I mean? Here it is, my senior year. I'm just now starting for real for the whole, you know what I'm saying, the whole season. I don't have any offers. I don't have any interest. I don't have no schools looking at me. Nobody knows I exist. So, but I know I want to play college ball. I'm resilient. I'm going to make it happen. It took a little minute. You know what I'm saying? I had to come up with a formula, a strategy to market myself, to push my highlight tape to different colleges and coaches and schools and stuff like that. So I just kept doing this daily regimen. And all I would do, I had a whole list of just schools from D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO. You know, I had a whole long ass list. Now I'll go down that entire list. Search up the school's football program. They went putting up the football website. And I'm emailing anybody that's geared towards football. Whether you a coach, you a graduate assistant, you were part of operations, you a trainer. It don't matter. You got anything to do with football, you got an email from me. And I did this for months and months and months in. And I ain't landed school till April. And that just so happened to be Stetson University.
That's amazing, man. I mean, talk about what advice do you give? You talked about the word resilience, right? For those young folks, guys coming up wanting to do what you did, give them some advice, give them some inspiration. You said you had a plan, but you said seemed to have it in you, never to give up.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only distinguishing quality between me and whoever else is going to go through this or is going through this, already went through this, is that you're not going to quit. That's the only distinguishing quality. You know what I'm saying? You willing to take the stand that I'm going to die behind what I'm getting after right now. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing gonna stand in my way but me. Ain't nobody gonna stop me but me. And once you make it up in your mind, like I know who I am, I know what I believe, what I want to do, the universe will move out of your way.
That's pretty amazing. Where'd you learn that? I mean, that's not something that everybody understands.
Yeah. I heard Will Smith say it. It was a part of a song. Like they
Yeah.
sampled. It was an interview he had did, but they used that part of the interview in the intro and outro of the song. But I heard Will Smith say it, and he was just talking about just like being great. You know what I'm saying? It's just greatness comes from just hours and hours and hours and hours of
Yeah.
your craft, skill.
Yeah.
Skill. That's what you know what I'm saying. That's what skill is. Greatness. We think it's just godlike, esoteric ability that only the select few among us will ever, you know what I'm saying, possess. But it's like, nah. If you want something, go get it. You gotta put in the work. It's not gonna happen overnight. Like Nipsey Hussle would say, it's a marathon. This shit is a marathon. It's gonna take a minute. It's not gonna happen overnight. You're gonna have your ups and downs. You're gonna cramp up. You're gonna get fatigued. You know what I'm saying? All that's gonna happen. But yo, 10 toes to the ground, but you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to push through. You got to fight through until, you know what I'm saying, you cross the victory lap. You know what I mean? Ain't no telling how long that may take. But like I said, you're not going to quit at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That's the only distinguishing quality.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, man, I just had this thought in my head and my brain's going on a journey. Korleh was telling me before we got on the mic that he coaches, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But if I took that little clip that you just said, and I took that and I visualized sitting in a locker room, you're the coach and we're in a championship game and that was your talk, man. I mean, I think you know this because you're humble from what I see. You've got this innate ability with your words to inspire. There's no BS about that, which is amazing to me. So tell me about coaching. You're now coaching football.
Yeah.
I have some friends in the American League, and they came into the Canadian League, who would tell you that sometimes in the locker room, not everybody gets it like you do.
Oh,
Some of the guys come up from they've come from traumatic life experiences. They don't always believe in themselves. Sometimes there's differences in personalities. People don't like each other. Give us some wisdom about the coaching work you do. How do you get a bunch of guys together
man. Yeah.
to be resistant? Yeah, give us
It's
anything, man.
hard. It's hard, bro. Like you said, where you got so many different personalities, so many different characteristics, so many different personas, so many different upbringings and codes and ethics and beliefs, and it is very, 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 very challenging. Like, because I'm not even a head coach, I just coach a specific position group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like I'm always an owl, like just sitting back and just analyzing, just seeing what the head coach goes through. You know what I mean? And it's like everything falls on his name when it's all said and done with. And just like the efforts that really has to go into, like, man, building a dominant program, discipline program, but it is not easy and it does not happen overnight. Like, even playing in college, like my school wasn't the best. We didn't have, you know what I'm saying, winning records while I was there. So it was nothing. Even in high school, I did. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing. It wasn't the best. I won a record, so it was being a part of a winning tradition was something that was taboo to me. I had no clue what it meant to be a part of a winning tradition until I got just immersed around coaches that come from winning traditions, and they carry those same traditions into the programs that we are in currently. But it's still just like a disconnect because, like, you know what I'm saying, y'all come from winning background, but now here you are in the program where you got folks that know how to win. You got some folks that don't know how to win. You know what I'm saying? Folks that know how to play hard, give 100% effort, that's gonna buy in, and you got folks that just the polar opposite. So it's just like, man, it's just like it's hard. It's hard, man. It's hard. It is. It's stressful too. It's very, very stressful.
And you have to, a lot of people tell me you have to learn. I played sports too, but not at a professional level. But you have to learn how to lose, and sometimes losing is the hardest part. Let me just say this openly to the audience that when I was talking to Korleh, everybody to come on the show through an email, I said, well, where did you fail? What's one of your biggest failures? And I'm just going to honor you, man, and read this out, and then we'll get into that part of the story. So right now, everybody, we're up to this point where here's a guy. He had a great mom who raised him. He's, has family. He went into football and became an athlete. Also, education. He found his way, got a degree. I mean, it's just a total package of success, right, on the outside for a young man who's up and coming in his life. And so here's what he told me. He said, I told myself that I would stop smoking cannabis for a year with me moving to China. I didn't keep my word, and the result was me getting arrested and detained for 14 years. I read that and I went, what the? And so you can hold up the book right now if you want, and we'll just plug that book because I want to say something. We'll talk about that story. There it is, 14 days in Beijing, and look at the picture on that cover. I mean, man, I had visions of Darth Vader, everything from that to guys in the sidelines, guys on the sidelines in the NFL with their fancy gear and their dreadlocks. And I'm going like, dude, I wouldn't want to meet you in a prison looking like that. But let's get real. Let's get real for a minute. I want to ask you this. I'm an author. We're both authors. Everybody, I want to just acknowledge that I've read Korleh's book. I actually read it twice. I enjoyed the many depictions in there, but we'll let you tell us about that. But the thing is that Korleh, tell me what you think. But when I wrote my book, one of the reasons that stopped me from writing it all my life was the fear of what people would think. In fact, I was, they say shame and guilt those two emotions are on the same plane, and guilt you can overcome. Shame makes you run, and maybe depression and all this. My early life story was pretty traumatic, as you know, from my book, and I went into business at higher levels, and I was ashamed of that part of my life. I thought everybody else wasn't like that. When I finally got out of my way, I wrote the book. Dude, here you are, and you had that experience, and you decided to write the book. So get us into that. Tell us about what happened. Why did you go to China, first of all? And when did you start smoking cannabis? Because you said you wanted to give it up for a year, and then you were arrested. Why don't you take us just to that point?
All right. So yeah, I started smoking cannabis like senior year college. So in drinking, I didn't start drinking or smoking until my last year of college. So it's like I'm still fresh. I'm still new to that whole world. I know folks that's been doing this since freshman year of high school. You know what I'm saying? So middle school, for real, we're gonna keep it a buck.
What made you start? What made you start? By the way, was it influence of others or what?
Nah, because they couldn't influence me to do it back then. That's what got on their nerves the most, because I wouldn't fold under the peer pressure. I just finally came to terms. You know what I'm saying? Once I tried it and I found how I benefit from it and see how it works for me, and I just work. You know what I'm saying? I just took it as that. You know what I'm saying? This is how I use it, and I also just did my research and education behind what I'm doing versus just everybody just doing it because their favorite rapper do it, or their best friend do it, or their big brother told. You know what I'm saying? They just doing it, just following. But yeah, I still got into it. I didn't get into it until late. And mainly what I use it for, like what it helps me do is just relax, unwind, clear my head, because I don't overthink, but I'm constantly in thought, So it just allows me to remove myself. You know what I'm saying? Just from the matrix and what I got going on, and just relax. Honestly, just take it and just look at things from a different angle. And most importantly, it helps me feel.
Yeah. So there you were in your last year of college. You started, with a habit, cannabis. And tell us, why did you go to China? And then put people into the story, man. And like Star Wars, get us into the story. Let us feel, because in the book it comes out pretty clear what happened.
Yeah, we jump straight into it. But so after I graduated, my football career ended in November 2017. Week later. Well, not even a week later, the following Monday, because we play on Saturdays. The following Monday, I started applying for jobs, looking and applying.
Yeah.
I landed interviews, got flown out to them, put up in hotels, the whole nine for about 7 to 8 months straight. And I kept getting told no. And I'm applying for all American companies, corporate-based positions, sales, marketing, management. And I'm doing the same formula I was doing with trying to find a school to go to. I'm same formula trying to find a job once I graduate. And I'm getting in the door, but that's where it's ending. Like I'm in the door, we do the interview, and then they hit me. You know what I'm saying? We like you, you did well, but you just lack the experience. So we're gonna move with somebody else. But it's like y'all knew that when I submitted the resume.
Yeah.
You knew that before we even set all this up. So it's just like the fact that I kept hearing the same excuse is just like, it was neither here nor there. At that point, I'm like, fuck it, for real, for real. I'm like, I need to reapproach this job searching thing because clearly corporate isn't for me.
Yeah.
The universe is telling me that. It's evident at this point. So I'm gonna just go about this job searching thing differently. I had to think about reevaluating. Okay, Chance, what are you really good at? Well, good chance you're good at talking to people, working with people. So you need to look for work that's in that field. So I'm on LinkedIn. I just typed in social work in the search engine, and like literally, and I'm talking about I searched the whole nation. That's how I was doing my job. So I'm searching the whole nation, and I was going through the filters, and one button in particular stood out to me. I never noticed it before. It said like international. So search international. I'm like, damn, why not think to look outside the country for opportunities? That's a good idea. Let me see what's going on outside these borders. And that's when I seen the opportunity. Oh, teach English in China. The kids. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. All right, what's the requirement? As long as you got a bachelor's degree, don't matter what your degree is in. Clean background, native English speaker. That's all they wanted.
What a day! What we talk about day and night between applying in America and internationally, right?
Yeah. On me, all they asked was all you gotta do is submit a resume. Literally, that's 2 clicks on your mouse. Boom, boom, and you're done. I ain't gonna take me to this other website where I fill out this 100 questionnaire form that's gonna take me about an hour and 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of that. Oh, just submit a resume. I ain't asking for much either. And it get to teach abroad. Oh, move to a different country and work. Oh, that's lit. Boom.
That's pretty cool. And at that time, you weren't like you didn't have did you have a girlfriend or any connections?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend at the time. But yeah, but it's just like, man, I'm in real life. She still has 2 more years to go in school.
Yeah.
I have to start.
You got to go.
Finding my purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Clock it.
Amen. Long distance relationships, they happen, and
people.
if the universe meant for the two of you to stay together, but that's awesome. So I got to tell you this. I got to honor you first of all, man. That the courage to start looking for a career and then go international completely. I mean, one of the biggest challenges that a lot of immigrants who come to North America tell us is they can't fit in, they can't integrate, they miss their homeland. It's like walking into a strange country. There's different languages. So there you were, everybody. We heard Korleh, he applied, and I assume you got accepted into a job in China. So take us off to the airplane when you stepped off it. What happened?
Yes, October 10th. So I got hired in July. It was a 3-month long process to get my visa. So I landed in China on October 10th, 2018. They put us up, and I came in with like 28 other people. So we was all recruited around the same time, all hired around the same time. So they put us up in a hotel for 2 weeks. And within those 2 weeks, we did our training for the actual job we were going to be doing. As well, we had to search for apartments to live in after those 2 weeks were up. So went through training, found an apartment on the east side of Beijing in Qingnanlu. And China was absolutely amazing, bro. Like,
is it everything like we see in Hollywood sometimes, where it's just this massive place? There's tons of people. There's pollution. There's, yeah.
Pollution is real. I wouldn't dare step foot outside without having my mask on.
Amazing. So you got there, and so hold up the book again. I just want to bring that back to the forefront, man. So everybody, Korleh wrote a book, 14 Days in Beijing. I'm going to give a 5-star review for it. You got to get it. Now I got to just plug it and say that for authors' work to get known, everybody, you got to read it, but post a review. That's how we get known. So when I first saw that cover, I was excited, and I thought, wow, 14 Days in Beijing. I'll learn about what it's like to live there. But that's not exactly what your book was about. So tell us what happened, and then get us into that 14 days.
Yeah, so in China, living my best life, work. I'm picking up work more and more. They really walking me into it. The kids are lit. They making the job everything. You know what I'm saying? So work is phenomenal. The food is phenomenal. Culture and people is dope. It's a vibe. meeting new people from different foreigners. It's a vibe meeting them. So, and I'm going on plenty of adventures. I'm not from China. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like anything we do is going to be an adventure and a half. I mean, so China was absolutely amazing. Best experience I ever experienced. And
That's cool.
now we fast forward to April 4th, 2019. It's a Thursday, day off for me. I'm planning on attending an event with some friends and coworkers later in the afternoon. So after my typical morning preparations, I start pre-gaming for the event. For those that don't know what pre-gaming is, that's like, say you and a group of people finna get ready to go out on a night full of festivities. It's like, oh, before we go out, let's meet at so-and-so house first. And we're going to turn up at the house. And then we're going to go out and have even more fun. So that's something pre-gaming in the house. I'm sipping some Chinese liquor, smoke some cannabis on my little silver pipe.
What was the Chinese liquor?
Baijiu.
What is that? For those who don't know, what's it like? Is it like something we know here?
It's like it's a white liquor.
Okay.
I don't know, like far as just like vodka or I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
But it got like 56% alcohol in it.
Yeah.
So it gets you right for sure.
Yeah, and the friends you had, are they friends that are from also international, or friends from the
I'm mainly hanging out with other foreigners. You know what I'm saying? Either I met them at my school or we came in together. You know what I'm saying? In the same class. So
so you're doing pre-game and drinking the liquor.
Pre-gaming, get done pre-gaming, getting dressed, whoop. Hear a knock at the door. Guess I'm unfamiliar. Curious to see who it is. Look through the peephole. 3 officers from the Beijing police on the other side of the door. And it's like my heart's immediately sunk. I'm
my God.
Shit. What are they doing here? So
hey man, have you ever had a vision like that through the 3 officers through a peephole before?
Man, hell no.
I mean, how do you look in that moment? What was going on? Did your heart rate go? How did you react to that?
I'm just like, oh shit. what they doing here? I'm just thinking like, bro, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
But as I thought back, because this wasn't the first time they shown up to my apartment randomly.
Yeah.
They shown up to my apartment earlier in like January, and they just wanted to check my documents to see if I just to prove that I was who I said I was. And they did it to another coworker of mine as well. So I'm like, okay, they must do this more than once. That's the impressions I'm under. So okay, they must do this random check. You know what I'm saying, more than once. Okay, let me put everything up, open the door. They walk in, officer in front, he's speaking to me. I know a little bit of Mandarin, not enough to have a full dialogue. So once he sees that I have no clue what he's talking about, he speaks into his phone and shows me it's a translation app he's spoken to. And I'm reading the translation. It says, "Are you on drugs?" Hell no, boy, you tripping. What you talking about? Nah, fool. No, you tweaking passport? Might need some passport. Yeah. So he's speaking to the phone again. Are there any drugs in the house? My boy, what are you talking about? Hey, what are you talking about? Where you getting this information from? Like, nah, bro, you tripping. Nah, passport. Let me go grab my documentation, bro, because clearly you got me confused with somebody else. So go grab my documentation.
At this time, all your friends are in the place there?
No, they I don't know where they at. I'm in the house by myself.
Oh, okay.
I was literally finna get ready to leave to head to meet them.
Yeah, and, okay, your place.
Yeah, I'm at the crib. I'm finna get ready to leave, and you know what I'm saying. They fold up.
Were these big? I mean, Chinese police officers. I have no concept. Were they big, scary guys or young guys or what?
One was probably about like 230. He probably about like 6 foot 230. He was the biggest one. The other ones, the other two, they were probably 6 foot, but like 180. 170, you know what I'm saying? They slim dudes. And the police in China don't even have guns. China is so strict, like, you know what I'm saying? So if push come to shove, you're gonna have to square up with them. That's as far as gonna go. You know, so But
so from reading the book, I read the book, so I have the privilege of reading the book, but you'll be able to get it and read it. So that you were arrested, right?
Yeah. So once, you know what I'm saying, they drug test me, failed the drug test, interrogate me about failing drug tests, and they find the weed, and now the cuffs are on me, and they said, you know what I'm saying, escort me out the building and send me down in the van. And now I'm just reflecting at this point, just like,
were you afraid?
Nah, not at all. Fear is imaginary. Fear is imaginary. I knew I was gonna be good. I prayed to my ancestors that morning. So
wow.
with all this transpiring, literally, I'm talking about like maybe 2 hours later, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. I know I'm gonna be good. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna play out. But when it's all said and done, I'm gonna be A1 since day one.
Wow. So how far from the where the house you were was the penitentiary or whatever? Just tell us that about
Yeah.
that. You went somewhere and then they locked you up, right?
Yeah, so I went to 2 different precincts. First precinct, I was in there for like no more than like 30 minutes. And I was just sitting down, honestly. And then they get back in the van, we get to second precinct. Now, mind you, all this commuting we doing, I have no clue what's going on. They not explaining nothing to me, nor am I asking any questions either. So I'm just sitting. I'm like, I'm going to see. And, you know what I mean? Just taking note of every minor detail because I knew it was going to be a great story to tell once I was out of the predicament. So get to the second precinct, and I'm there in that second precinct for 14 hours. They do my interrogation, which is very dramatic in the book because they lock me into this electric chair to do the interrogation.
Are you serious? Are you serious? I read that. Everybody,
Yeah.
did you hear what he just said? Electric chair. Are we talking about the kind of electric chair where they electrocute?
Now I didn't see like no wires and no like little headpiece, nothing. But this chair and it was all metal. You know, most electric chairs got straps and belts and stuff. No, this thing was all metal. This thing locked your legs, your thighs, your waist, your chest, and your arms all in one place. The only part of my body that could move was my head.
Dude,
so I'm like,
scary. Dude, I mean, I gotta be honest. You're fearless, but that is scary. So how look 14 hours interrogation or whatever. How much can they ask you? What were they interrogating you about for that length of time?
Just really just wanted to know about the drugs, where I get them from, and just to see if I can give them any information as far as the supply. Right. Now, when they was first interrogating me at the department, I wasn't expecting them to show up. So it was a curveball. So I'm just panicking. I'm shouting out first thing that come to my mind, all that. So now that we had the second precinct, I'd have been in custody for a couple hours at this point. So I've had plenty of time to come up with a story to give them. So, and I made sure the story, it should be no extra questions, you know what I'm saying, you should have to ask based on the story I just gave you, know what I'm saying? So once, you know what I'm saying, I gave them the story, it seemed like it was a legit one, you know what I'm saying? They just had me, they signed the manuscript, the transcription of it, had me sign the transcription of it, thumbprinted, and then they took me back upstairs and just sat me in the cell, and that's why I was just remained for the majority of the time, handcuffed, just reflecting on everything.
I want to just jump back in, everybody. We're talking to Korleh Jackson, the author of 14 Days in Beijing, and he's right now just accounting for how he was arrested after going to Beijing to work in an education career. He was arrested and put into a prison. It's really funny because China is a communist country. We all know that, and we look at your human rights. Right, proven guilty. You know, people here don't get arrested and thrown in jail for 14 days. You have to, you know, there's a process. You have to be also convicted and proven guilty. What was going through your mind at that time, knowing that you were in communist country? You didn't know what was going to happen. You wrote about it in the book. You met a bunch of people as well. Just, you know, what were you thinking? I mean, you didn't even get a phone call to call your mom or your lawyer.
No, I'm just like, man, I'm gonna be good. When it's all said and done, I know I'm gonna be straight.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is gonna play out.
And the conditions of the tell us a bit about that, because the conditions seem pretty crazy in the cells where you're held.
Yeah. So once I got to after the second precinct, they took me to the main lobby, had me changed back into my regular clothes, took me to the evidence room, and they weighed up the weed that they confiscated in front of me, which is one, and it's a pivotal section of the book because it really dictates it. It's a foreshadow. It's a sign that lets you know, and let me know at that point in time, but I didn't know then what I knew now, how long I was going to be there. So they take the weed and they will scale it up in front of me. It turns out to be 1.4 grams.
Yeah.
1.4. You take away that decimal, what number do you get?
Yeah, 14, man. That's pretty crazy.
You know what I mean? So from then they had me sign some old documents I couldn't read, thumbprinted. Now we back in the van. 30, 40 minutes pass. We arrive at the facility with tall walls and barbed wire. And I'm like, this shit just getting started. I'm thinking they finna let me go. Like, nah, boy, he thought it was over
Man.
with.
Yeah.
He thought it was over with. So get to the cell. Well, go into the jail, process me, change clothes, get me to the cell. Cell 209 is the first cell I'm in, and I'm the only foreigner, only English speaker in the cell.
Yeah.
And there were 14 other Chinese men. We have 9 wooden beds. We're locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And all I had was 1 plastic bowl and 1 plastic spoon.
Wow. And those guys don't speak a lot of English either, from what I can see.
Nah, not at all. Not even a lick of it. Not even a lick of it. So it's just me, myself, and I that I can truly communicate with. So the first 2 chapters, it's just me all in my head. For real, just at war in my reflections.
Yeah. Everybody, I just want to jump in and acknowledge again that Korleh Jackson's talking about 14 Days in Beijing. He wrote a book about it, which I encourage you to get and read and review. But I remember reading the book, the first 3 or 4 chapters, man, because he did a good job at portraying what it was. It was simplistically written enough for me to be able to feel what it was like as you were in that cell. You met some interesting characters. One that stood out in my mind was the fella from the... I think he had a woman he knew in Canada, his wife, or he was an author. He was an author. You know, you didn't exactly say the details, but he was an author. But the thing about this was there was something odd about his story connected to 9/11. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so chapter 5, day 5, I moved to a new cell. So I'm in a cell with 2 other English speakers now. So now I can communicate with people. I started learning how just the whole incarceration process works. I still have no clue how long I'm going to be here, but I'm gaining a better understanding of how this whole process works. So this morning, we waiting for breakfast to come by the cell, and through the window in the cell, I just hear a voice. It's like somebody yelling from another cell. Dude named Bruce, and pretty much he does this speech every morning. It's pretty much a speech about him being locked up in that same facility I was in. He had been locked up for over a year up until this point. Had no clue how long he was going to be there. Nobody knew who he was there. His family probably think he dead. The U.S. Embassy, it wasn't trying to help him get a new passport. Like, pretty much they exiled him, just left him for dead. And it messed me up because it's like, well, here I am, locked up in the same facility. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. Nobody has told me any information. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's throwing my sake because here I am. I'm hearing some dude talking about how he been here for over a year and don't nobody know what's going on. He don't know what's going on. I'm like, oh, nah, bro.
So it's funny reading the book, everybody, and Korleh, when I read the book, that's what was going through my mind. Because I thought 14 days, okay. But then this guy comes up, and like you said, they call it in mental health catastrophizing, where you start catastrophizing. And I'm thinking to myself, if he's been there a year and he doesn't even know, and then contrast again, you know, a country that's civilized, that has systems and processes, America, Canada, you'd never go through that, right? So here you are. But there was something about his story. He said he had written a book and he gathered information about 9/11 and proving the U.S. was behind it. And I mean, that was pretty odd to see that if that was true. Now Did you ever talk to him personally? And
literally, first morning, I was just so shocked to hear his story.
Yeah.
And I was so taken away by it that it was still processing, like, that I barely received, like, vital information as far as just anything to look him up or trying to figure out who he is. I'm just shocked to hear it. So the next day, I'm like, okay, let me listen a little bit closer. And it still is like, even though I'm listening closer, I still can't make out the specific details that will help you find out who he is. As far as his last name, I couldn't comprehend what his last name was. I couldn't to save my life. He gives you information about the name of his book. I couldn't hear that to save my life. The school his wife worked at, I couldn't hear that to save my life. Wow. Every time he gave this speech, the key things that can help you find out who he is, I could not hear it. I could not make out what he said to save my life.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that was a few years ago. Since you've been back, you could research. But I'm thinking, you never know in prisons. There's people in there that sometimes they have traumatic experiences, mental health issues. You never know, right? Especially as a story like that. So let's wind it forward for the sake of time. You're there for 14 days. So there was a pivotal moment when I started reading about, and this puzzled me, man. So help me understand. The guards were asking you guys to call somebody. Who do you know to buy your plane ticket?
Yeah.
And then you said something like, I have lots of money. I can buy it myself. They wouldn't let you. What's that all about? It's weird.
They have the same in China. There's no why in China.
Wow.
There's no
That's
why.
crazy.
You just do. Yeah, no, you, because us in America, we be like, you got to explain that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to run that by me again. Like, you got to elaborate on that. Ain't none of that. What we say go.
So everybody, just to be clear, when you get the book, you'll read in detail. But I read this, that you were asked to do you know who can buy your ticket home? You offered to buy it, said you had all the money and you could do it. They got angry. They said, no, who do you know? And then they told you to turn your phone off. And then when your mom finally bought the ticket, I think she told you she was on her way to see you, and they said no, to send her back. Tell us about that. Like what happened there?
So it's day 7, chapter 7. I'm able to make contact with the outside world. And at this point, we just downstairs, and they told us to grab our phones. Like, I honestly don't know what we're supposed to be doing. I just know they told us to grab our phones. So I'm like, this is the first time I can contact people. I'm about
where was your phone? Was it put away somewhere?
In the storage unit where they put the rest of the inmate stuff. So they just took a few of us back there at a time to grab our phones and back into the lobby with everybody else. So I'm just happy to finally just make contact with the outside world. So I'm just hitting up everybody. And he'd come up and he's like, you know what I'm saying? Did you find somebody to buy your ticket? I was like, oh man, I forgot all about that, bro. I'm just so, you know what I'm saying? I'm tapping back in with, you know what I'm saying, the outside world. But I was like, yeah, man, I can pay for it myself, bro. Like, y'all made me pay for my X-ray. I got plenty of money. I got bread, bro. I can pay. I can buy it. You know what I'm saying? All I gotta do is just come grab me from the cell, and I can come grab my wallet, and we can pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Logically, it makes sense.
It does.
Why I couldn't do it, I have no clue. I wasn't finna sit there and go back and forth with that man either. Yeah. Whatever, fool. You got it. Let me call Dukes, and you know what I'm saying? Because I know she can buy the ticket. So I honestly don't know why I couldn't buy the ticket, but called mama. Duke said, I could buy a ticket, but she was like, your brother dropped me off at the airport. As we speak, I'll be there in Beijing tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm like, oh, damn. Okay. I told her, hey, my mama said she's going to be here tomorrow by 5 p.m. He's like, oh, that ain't going to, what that mean? He said, what that mean? That ain't going to change nothing. That ain't going to speed nothing. Can she buy your ticket? That's all I need to know. I'm like, yeah, she said she can buy the ticket. All right, hang up the phone. All right, mom, I gotta go. I gotta go. This man over here tripping. He tripping.
That must have freaked your mom out, right? Is she worrying about you? Did she know? What was the first time since you got arrested that anybody back home knew that you were like that in trouble, or was this the first time you could actually reach out?
Oh yeah, this was the first time I was able to make contact. Period.
So nobody would have known that you were.
Ironically, when I was on the phone with Dukes, she answered the phone. I was like, yo, what's going on? She's like, you tell me. I'm like, yeah, I'm locked up out here. She said, yeah, I got she received an email from the U.S. Embassy about me being arrested.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that's how she found out. And just so happened, the very first time I can make contact with her, she's on her way to the airport. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just crazy. It's a crazy story. It's like, man, you can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. I mean, we won't get into the details, but some of the conditions you were in, like the hole in the ground toilet, and I don't want to go there because I heard it too much about you taking a shit. Yeah. And then the food quality. But let's, without being a spoiler here, man, hold the book up again. Let's take another look at that. Everybody, we're talking to Korleh Jackson. He wrote the book 14 Days in Beijing. He's been talking to us about going there to be an educator, teacher. Thank you, man. Yeah. Educator, teacher, very talented man from sports, had a degree, lots of wisdom, makes a bit of a slip up with his judgment, with cannabis, gets arrested, detained. I mean, no rights, just detained. We don't want to spoil the book because we want people to read it, but you eventually were released, correct?
Oh, yeah. Eventually,
And
Yeah.
what about the career, the job? You just
Oh yeah, I knew it was over with
yeah.
once I was out. Once I was, as soon as the cuffs was thrown on me, I said, "Yeah, this is over with."
So they basically they just kick you out of the country, right?
Oh yeah, they took me from the jail straight to my apartment to pack up the rest of my stuff, and then straight to the airport where I was
Wow.
deported, all within 6 hours
Wow.
of being
At any
released.
time did you feel your life in the fear of your life being in danger?
Nah,
Okay. So there you were, you're kicked out of the country, and you're back home. So just give us a snippet of, since you've been home, what's
yeah.
transpired in your life.
So yeah, so once I got back home, of course I'm down bad. I done lost my job.
Yeah,
I done
man.
lost my girl. My money's still over in China. I'm down bad. I'm down bad, back against the wall. Started really just trying to fit, and I'm back to square one. You know what I mean? I just got to figure out what it is that I want to do all over again. I still want to teach, so I'm like, I still got into that. I was doing online teaching English online.
Yeah.
Then ended up getting into the school system in my county, substituting and stuff like that, coaching football as well, and I started writing a book. When I, you know what I'm saying, I started writing a book in July, started coaching, started teaching again in August, and coaching like September. It was all back months. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was all later into, you know what I'm saying, these couple months after I got back home, and it was still April when I got back home.
Yeah.
But I didn't start doing all of this until like a couple months down the line, after I was just able to just bounce back, I guess, somewhat mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
I
then what
did-
about, tell me about the, so cannabis, are you able to sort of manage that, and have you given that?
It wasn't an issue when I was smoking the whole time I was in China.
Yeah.
I didn't share that, but I was high, but I was smoking the whole time.
Would you think it, do you think it was random that you were arrested?
Yes, people still ask me to this day, like, well, what provoked them to come to your apartment? I have no clue. I hope
Yeah.
y'all can help me figure it out. That's what I'm like. I wrote a book, man. Hope y'all can help me figure it out, because I have no clue. You
I
know
think
what I'm
that just becomes a warning for anybody traveling. So do you have anything on your record for international
saying?
travel
You
today?
don't follow me. If I didn't write this book, nobody would know anything about it.
That's nuts. So, that's why I'm going to honor you for writing the book, man, because I said this up front. I wasn't being critical, but it takes a lot to step into your pain and write a book that people could judge you. They judge your characters. But just so you know, I live in a country that's passed a law where cannabis is legalized.
Oh yeah.
So
Just
where I live, there's a shop down the street. I mean, but it's for different purposes. But so from the whole experience, being arrested, detained, you're out, start over. What give us some wisdom. What did you learn from that, or what would you tell others before they decide to travel to a foreign country like that?
Definitely do your research before you travel, before you take your ass any place, man. Do your thorough research. If you know somebody that's from there, that'll help even more. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Because now you with an actual native, you know what I'm saying, that knows the vibrations. They know how to move. So you're gonna be in good hands like Allstate. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be good. But just all in all, man, adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman to herself. Yeah. We all face adversity at some point in time within our journeys. Multiple times we're gonna face adversity multiple times. And you know what I'm saying, you just running through this life, you know what I'm saying, like it was mine, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Never settling, but you said never go high. 1,000 burpees on the path to your own success or destruction. But what's a mistake without the lesson? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They say none of us know who we are until we fail. Every person is defined by their reaction to any given situation. Well, who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself?
What have you been doing with the story? It's a pretty interesting story. You read it for a reason.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry. So you've got the book, and it's an interesting story. What have you been doing with that story?
Oh yeah. Really, I partner with a nonprofit organization called the UMA Foundation, Uplifting America's Youth. And where I come into play is in the life skills department or sector of the nonprofit. And we work with at-risk teens in my area that, you know what I'm saying, either they fall victim to drugs or they just on some hot shit, you know what I'm saying, stealing cars, you know what I'm saying, just, on that type of time. So we just use my book, 14 Days of Beijing, as part of our lessons. You know what I'm saying? Just to provoke thought and reflection and reevaluation. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
as you read, you can see, okay, here go this character named Lucky. He's locked up and got arrested in China in this communist country. But look how poised he is.
Yeah.
He's not panicking. During the fog of war, look how his mindset is throughout the course of the war. And then once he makes it through the fog, look what he was able to do with it and how he was able to grow from it. Now, based on you and your experience, now let's reflect and reevaluate what your stories was. And you know what I'm saying? How was your thought process when you was in your fog of war? You know what I'm saying? Just making them think. You know what I'm saying? Because they not, I know for a fact they're not thinking like that. They ain't got nobody around them that's making them think like that. You know what I'm saying? Just reflect like that. So this is where I come into place primarily, for sure. And I just, anybody, I'm going to inspire you and motivate you to do anything that you want to do or have passions of doing, just, you know what I'm saying, help you come up with something to pursue. You know what I mean? That's just why I come into play.
Well, that's pretty awesome. When we do these show notes, I'll make sure I get the link or anything to that work that you're doing. And everybody, we're talking to Korleh Jackson. We're just wrapping up here. Hey, man, I just want to honor you with some words. These are leadership words. I write them down as I'm interviewing. They're not scripted. And the first one is wisdom. The experience that you've had there, dude. They say that we're connected by threads in our story. What I love about what you just told us about what you're doing with the story is you wrote it to help others, and all those kids or youth that you mentor, many of them have a thread that's parallel to your story. Resilience. One thing I want to just also say that one of the things that jumped out to me when I was reading Chancellor Korleh's book is your kindness, and that was one of my words on my list, dude. I didn't read a book where you're punching everybody out and cussing them and you're acting like a lunatic. There's you were just, you were resilient and kind. So wisdom, resilience, integrity. Sounds a little odd, but a guy who smoked cannabis got arrested in jail for 14 days. How can you say integrity? Dude, the world smokes cannabis. You tripped up, as you said, and, maybe it was a bad judgment, just not realizing I'm in a communist country. But the point is that you admitted to it, you followed the process, and you're back home now. You wrote a book about it to tell people about it, so maybe they can learn something from it. That's big integrity. So way to go. And the last thing I want to do is give you an award. So you may not know about this, but anybody comes on the show, I vet them pretty hard because we want to have a balanced story. I'm going to just full screen me for a minute. There's a challenge coin on the screensaver behind me. So everybody can see that. So basically, challenge coins originated in World War II. These coins were created and soldiers would carry them in their pockets to commit community. So if you showed up without your coin, maybe you bought dinner or drinks. Today, Korleh, they're around the world. Alcoholics Anonymous, first responders. These coins are used for community. So I had this one created. It's two sides. They're hand-painted, crafted in the U.S. The front is the image of the show. The back is actually the narrative of the show, the hero's journey visual narrative about how somebody goes on a journey and learns something, comes back to teach, change the world. And so you're being inducted into the Quiet Warrior Tribe. There's less than 50 of these a year that goes out, and they're in 17 countries representing quiet warriors like you who are doing meaningful work based on coming through adversity. So welcome to the tribe.
Hey, I appreciate you. Hey, that's lit. Hey, that's lit on me.
All right, man. Another trophy to put on your little wall there. So we'll get your address and stuff so I can work that out for you. But we'll give you the last word. Hold up the book and tell everybody where they can get a hold of you and whatever you have.
Yes, sir. 14 Days of Beijing, available on Amazon. Also have a free version. This cover you see right here with me, my hands on head, that's available on Amazon as well. It's a free version. It's the first 3 chapters of the book. It's available on Amazon, Apple Books, and Kobo. Just in case you just want to get your feet wet. You know what I mean? I got audiobooks coming soon. Actually, today is my birthday, and I just dropped my first romance novel today. It's called You Learn. It's also available on Amazon, and it piggybacks off of 14 Days. So I'm excited about that as well.
Wow, that's awesome. There's more to you, man. What's the name of that romance book again?
You Love and You Learn.
Gosh, you love and you learn. I did not know that. So you just made my day. There's more to you, dude. I mean, being a writer myself, there's different genres, and they're not easy books to write when you do things like that. And by the way, everybody, let's get real. Get the real book. Don't get the free version. You're gonna want to finish the story, but authors got to get. We got to get known, and you got to read it, post a review on Amazon. So, on that note, man, I just want to say thanks for being here and sharing your quite amazing story. And then you're back and you're doing well. So come back again and share more wisdom. Maybe when the new book's out.
For sure, for sure. I appreciate you for having me on and giving me the opportunity to share a little bit more about myself and my journey. For sure.
Awesome. We'll stand by while I wrap this up and come back to you. Everybody, find that true passion and purpose, like you hear from Korleh Jackson, and live the life that you deserve and desire. And we'll see you again on the Quiet Warrior Show. Thank you.